Today in cannabis news, cannabis purchases in the state of Maine set a new high in August, surpassing $10 million for the first time. Maryland state legislators make the first move towards placing cannabis legalization on the ballot in 2022. And advocates in the state of Nebraska submit complementing medical cannabis proposals for the ballot in 2022. It's Friday, September 10th, and this is your Trichomes Morning Buzz.
Broadcasting live from the Trichomes.com studios in Southern California. It's time for your Morning Buzz. We bring you late-breaking news that keeps you up to date with what's happening in the cannabis industry.
First up, in August, recreational cannabis sales in the state of Maine surpassed $10 million for the first time since the recreational sector started in October 2020. Last month, the state's 53 recreational cannabis dispensaries took in nearly $10.2 million in cannabis sales, according to the state's Office of Marijuana Policy. This amounts to around $1 million in tax revenue for the state, which has a populace of 1.3 million people. In contrast, recreational cannabis purchases in Maine totaled roughly 1.1 million in the first month of retail just under a year ago. Every month since then, the record has been exceeded. August was a record-setting month for cannabis purchases, with nearly 134,000 transactions, although it was only marginally more than July, when the state saw $9.4 million in recreational transactions. Medical cannabis purchases, which are recorded independently, are not included in the data.
Next up, this week, participants of a Maryland State House task force assigned with researching cannabis and drafting a legalization measure that the Speaker wants on the ballot next year gathered for the first time, examining the histories of legalization across the nation. As politicians seek to explore reforms in the state, the 10-member team, which was created by House Speaker Adrian Jones previously this year, will look at the matter from a range of angles. The group discussed their intention of working on measures to develop a controlled cannabis market during the next year so that it will be set for the 2023 session should voters support the legalization initiative next November. Cannabis statutes have had a disparate impact on people of color for far too long, with no real impact on public safety, said Representative Luke Klippinger, head of the task force, adding that the group will establish the legal framework that's necessary to fully implement the legalization of marijuana and learn from the mistakes that other states have made before us.
Last up this week, cannabis campaigners in the state of Nebraska revealed that they had submitted a couple of parallel proposals to legalize medical cannabis, which they intend to put on the state's ballot in 2022. Nebraskans for Medical Marijuana, an activist organization, anticipates the Secretary of State's administration to clear the proposal's text by the month's end, after which campaigners will be able to start gathering the signatures needed to qualify each of the proposals. This is the organization's second attempt at getting cannabis reforms on the state ballot. The Nebraska Supreme Court dismissed a medicinal cannabis legalization proposal that garnered sufficient signatures to appear on the 2020 ballot because it breached the single subject requirement for citizen proposals. This time around, organizers aren't taking any risks. To prevent a court action, the initiative, which is headed by a collaboration of families, patients, and legislators, adopted a bifurcated strategy with the complementing reform measures. One of the proposals would require legislators to enact laws creating safeguards for physicians and patients in the cannabis sector, and the other would direct legislators to introduce laws authorizing private firms to manufacture and distribute medicinal cannabis. The complete wording of the proposals has not yet been revealed, but campaigners say they will do so once the state has fully approved their text.
That was today's Buzz. Thanks for listening. For more cannabis news and insights from industry professionals and a place to discuss these stories and others, visit Trichomes.com.
And be sure to catch up with all of our other cannabis industry-related podcasts like Hash It Out, Tech and Cannabis, or the International Cannabis Conversation wherever you get your podcasts. For Trichomes.com, I'm Devin Leal.
And I'm RJ Balde, signing off.